Stay in the ACC. Big matchup here.
This should be, man. Like, I hate that Riley Leonard's not playing in this game.
I don't. So the line would suggest that he's not, or maybe it's suggesting that even if he does play, the biggest part of his game that makes him special is his legs.
No, the line is telling you he's not playing.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Still being listed as day-to-day. I would agree with you. I don't think he's playing either.
14 points is a lot.
It is. It's come down to 13 now, but it is a 7:30 game. Number 4 Florida State versus number 16 Duke. Total 49. Florida State currently 13-point favorite. I think Florida State. I've been a little disappointed in Jordan Travis here. I won't lie. I think he's a little more injured than whatever is being led on. I think he got mostly dinged up in that Clemson game, or no, the Boston College game, and he hasn't really been the same since.
Right.
I don't know that. So Duke's defense, like by all metrics, whether advanced or just normal counting stats, is like one of the top 5 to 10 in the country, depending on what stat you're looking at.
Right.
Duke's defense has been really good. They've played a Notre Dame team that was coming off of an Ohio State loss, who was missing a bunch of receivers, and they played Clemson at the beginning of the year, who doesn't really have very good receivers, and then they've played a whole mess of people that aren't good at all.
A whole mess of
NC State, UConn, and like. I don't think that Duke has seen the level of receiver that Florida State has. Johnny Wilson should be back for this game. Just sitting out last week. Obviously, you got Keon Coleman, who's making special plays every week. Florida State's defense is improving every week, and I think they've finally figured out the personnel they like and the kind of scheme they're going to go with. They figured something out in the second half of that Clemson game, and they've been really good ever since. Some of that is the teams they've played. And also I don't think Duke has only played away from home once.
Yeah.
And it was against UConn.
Yeah.
So this is a night game in Tallahassee. It's homecoming. There's going to be a lot of people at this game. It's going to be rowdy. I just really respect what I think Duke's going to come in with a really good game plan. I think they'll keep it close. I think Florida State will ultimately win the game, but I think Duke can cover. So I'm going to go Florida State 30, Duke 23.
Okay. So I really like Duke a lot, and with Riley Leonard, I mentioned a couple weeks ago with where each team was at, that I thought they were good enough to beat like that Week 4 Bama team, especially. I don't think Riley Leonard's playing. This has been a really fun story that we haven't talked enough about, just because
there's been a lot of fun stories. That's the crazy thing.
Yeah, like this is like you're 2.5 minutes from them being undefeated. And if Riley Leonard's back to that UNC game, that is one of the best games of the year in that conference. Mm-hmm. Florida State, I thought this was interesting. It shouldn't be because Florida State is a dominant program, especially over teams like Duke, like historically. But I thought it was interesting. They've won the last 10 in a row against Duke. So even when Florida State has struggled, they have not struggled against Duke. 10-0 in their last 10 against them, 8-2 against the spread. The 14 is way too high for me. It's way too high for me. But I do think that you're in a situation where Florida State has, at times, when the spotlight has been on, they have shown up, and they did it against LSU. They've done a really good job of making adjustments in the second half of games, especially. Clemson was tough, and I think that's a hurdle that maybe was just like a mental obstacle they had to get over. But they've been really good, and they haven't even been fully healthy and still look that good. I think a lot of times we do this where we look at a team and we pick one because we don't like them. Will Compton said something about this yesterday, how Bama barely beat Arkansas, Georgia barely beat Vanderbilt, and that's fair of the scoreboard. But I'm not going to look at a team like Florida State and say, well, I don't think they can win this game because they barely beat Boston College that one time. Yeah. There's enough on this resume. There's enough on what they've done that tells me they're a good team. At night in Doak, I don't like the points. I just don't But if Riley Leonard doesn't play, then I do like the points because he is that entire offense. So I'm going to actually go against my better judgment and say I think Florida State wins. I think they don't put up that many points because the defense for Duke is actually really good.
Yeah.
But I think 28-10 Florida State.